All right, students, so this is going to be literature number, let's see, where are we? Number 10. And for some reason, the printer did not print it straight, but that's okay. We can still see Class 5, literature number 10. This assignment, today's going to be pretty short when it comes to teaching because of the fact I'm going to give you plenty of time to be able to do the assignment. So the assignment is, last week we began to look at literary analysis. This week you're going to be doing it on your own. The reading and filling it in. So also attached is your reading. Your reading for scene number 3 begins on page 27 where it says Perseus. And it goes to where are we? Page 45, right here, where I marked right here. That is going to be page 45. The end of the second paragraph is going to be the end of where you'll find scene 2. So between page 27 and 45, where I've marked, you will find scene 2. And what you will do is once you find that scene, you'll label it. Just simply put something that would describe that scene. So scene 1 was about, was the scene in the king's palace, right? So you could put in the king's palace or Perseus is in the king's palace. It's just something that says either what's happening or actually the scene says where it is, what's going on. So in that reading, there's reading, and so what you have to do is you've got to find in that reading the most important thing that happened and label that scene. Also, in that scene, you'll look for the main characters. Now, there may be some main characters that were in scene 1 and 2 that are again in scene 3. And you'll list the characters, and then you will describe them using quotes from the book. So, for example, it talked about, so I'll give you, for example, it talked about Perseus being a, let's see, where's my book? Hold up one second. So in scene 1, it described Perseus, right? So Perseus, let me get to him, says, until Perseus had grown to be a handsome youth, very strong and active and skillful in the use of arms. Now, that was for scene 1, because we put down Perseus, and then we put the quotation marks, you remember? So last time it was Perseus, colon, quotation marks, and a handsome youth, until says use of arms. Arms, period, close the quotation marks, page 25. All right, so that's how we described Perseus. So you are going to first have to find what the scene is. Once you find what scene 3 is, remember it's between pages 27 to page 45. So you need to find what the scene is, label it, then find the main characters that are in that scene, and write down their names, and then describe them using quotes from the book. If this describes Perseus, a handsome youth, and then it ends up ending with use of arms, and I put Perseus, and I wrote down here, he was a handsome guy, and then I put page 25, that's not going to give you credit because you've got to be able to back things up with quotes from the book, because that's really what shows us if you can recognize it. So scene, main characters, then we put leading idea. Now this can be varied. In a scene, there may be multiple leading ideas. So for example, from scene 1 or scene 1 and 2, one of the leading ideas could be this idea of luck, right? So you might say, oh, well, he was lucky or had luck. And you saw how that idea comes out of the book and say, okay, a leading idea could be the Greeks' idea of luck. Another one might be manipulation. You can see in scene 1 how the evil king was trying to manipulate Perseus. So you look at that and say, okay, leading idea, manipulation. That's all you have to put. You don't have to explain it, but that is what you need to put. Now I think I gave you the wrong page numbers. I did. I gave you way too many page numbers for scene number 3. So give me a moment. Let me see. All right, so actually for scene number 2, it's going to be on page 33. So correct that. For scene number 3, it's not going to start on page 27. You need to start on page 33, the first paragraph. My apologies for that. I don't know why I did that. Right here. That's where scene 3 will start. I'll write it down to make sure I remember. So it starts on so you go from page 33 to page 45, and that is going to be where scene 3 is going to be found. Now, there's more than one thing that happens in those pages, so you've got to decide what is the most important thing that happens in those pages. And that will tell you what the scene is, and then that'll tell you the main characters that are in that scene, and it will also describe them. So for scene 3, it's page 33 to page 45. Leading idea would be something such as a main idea that is expressed in that in that scene. So for instance, the Greek idea of luck was in scene, actually I believe it's scene 2. In scene 1, manipulation, because you have the king who is trying to manipulate Perseus and get what he wants. So, and then lastly, you have plot, right? Now this is sometimes the most difficult one. And this is one that I want you to try to find. You might have a hard time doing it, but that's okay. I want you to try. So if you hand me back a paper and it's blank and you say, I couldn't find it, I couldn't figure it out. No, I want you to try to figure it out and write something out. And remember, plot has to do with the main event and the cause. So in scene 3, there's going to be a main event. And then, so you'll write down the main event. So where it says plot, you'll write down the main event, which is a quote from the book. You can do that, or it should be. And then you would write cause. And you write the cause of the main event. Why did the main event happen? What brought that on? Or why did it happen? Or what was the cause of that main event? So remember, plot has 2 parts. The cause and then the main event. So got that backwards. Plot has to do with the main event of a scene, and then the cause of that. But you need to think about what the cause would be. Again, if you're working through it and you want to text me, hey, Mr. Plumley, for scene 3, what do you think about this being the cause? I'll give you some feedback. I can either tell you, yeah, you're on the right track, or no, that's not really it. And actually, that goes for all of it. For scene 3, if you want to text me and say, this is what I'm getting for scene 3, this is what I think it is, I'll give you some feedback. I'll help you out. But I really want you to begin to recognize these things on your own, these literary analysis. Recognize the scene, the main characters, the leading idea, and the plot. So this is your assignment for scene number 3, and that would be it. Remember, scene 3 is found between pages, page 33 and 45. And that would be it.